It was 1974, the era of council mergers. West Bromwich, Wednesbury and Tipton became the municipal borough of Sandwell. Sandwell, I ask you. Skyline of Grime and the nearest coastal cove, well over 100 miles away. I'd just been promoted. Chief Clerk. 9 staff, and for the first time in my local authority life, an office of my own. Wendy and I had been married for 26 years. Totally exhausted by my fastidious attention to detail and routine, she upped and left. She felt it was for the best, you see, and it didn't unduly bother me, to be honest. I mean, by that time, the most exciting part of our married life was a pre-retiring mug of cocoa, occasionally topped by a daring double helping of Demerara sugar. I'd been talking about starting a family. I was always talking about starting a family, according to Wendy. I mean, when you're married and you've got a job, it's the next logical step, isn't it? It's the continuum, a chance to pass on what you've learnt in your own life, to leave something of yourself to posterity. But no, Wendy had never had much interest in the patter of tiny feet, and besides, the number of occasions that we traded passionate physical exchanges made the possibility of such an outcome at least remote, and at best a bloody miracle. Still, me and routine, now that was a marriage made in heaven. Stoical and with British stiff upper lip, I girded my loins and got on with it. Things were certainly changing at the council. New youngsters were coming in with language and concepts incomprehensible to anybody over the age of 30. Pretty soon it dawned on me that my position as Chief Clerk was beginning to look slightly vulnerable. I'd gaze out of the office window, across the exquisite vista of the executive car park, plagued by transient thoughts of old age, loneliness, and the inevitability that I could end my days senile and sick, tended to by a never-ending army of chronically cheerful home helps. Sometimes I would muse. I was an inveterate muser, especially over afternoon tea and a digestive, that under different circumstances Wendy and I could have slipped quietly into an old age of bland and pointless domesticity. I could see the appeal in that. It would mean I wouldn't have to confront the trauma of change. But I'm getting ahead of myself now. Some months prior to Wendy's great spiritual awakening, a young trainee accountant was assigned to my tutelage. Eager, bright of eye, blessed with a kind of boundless enthusiasm which lingered long after she had departed. Gaynor possessed such qualities in profusion. But most importantly, Gaynor was beautiful. I don't mean beautiful to look at, but well, she was beautiful to look at, but she was beautiful. A beautiful person. She descended on the department like a typhoon, desperate to gain intimacy with the nubile nuances of double entry bookkeeping, the eager art of aligning the annual accounts, the heady intrigue of audit trails and misplaced invoices. For Gaynor, these were the double chocolate whipped cream desires that other people satisfied blazing under Caribbean skies. To those of a certain predisposition, the fervour of an accounts department it's all-consuming, and it leads inevitably to a kind of irresistible hysteria. At one time of the day, I'd experienced that glorious sense of enlightenment. She was just like a younger version of me, only in a skirt. A whole new world opened up before my eyes. I'd found a reason to get up in the mornings. For the first time in my life, I had knowledge to pass on to a willing pupil. Gaynor couldn't get enough of it. She was the only person I knew whose eyes lit up at the mere mention of a purchase ledger. She made accountancy seem like an exciting and clandestine activity. She even told me that she found the bewitching wonderment of bookkeeping pulsating with a barely suppressed undercurrent of sexuality. She was right. 7th of June. It's a date I'll never forget. Gaynor and I were working late. There was a crisis budget meeting, reports to prepare. The evening sun settled slowly behind the commemorative sculpture to Councillor Bassett, now serving 2 years for serial importuning. And I recall making a comment about love's labour's lost. There's a quote from a Leonard Cohen poem. With Annie gone, whose eyes to compare with the morning sun? Not that I did compare, but I do compare, now that she's gone. Without warning, this deafening stillness settled on the room, and then, in an instant, a torrent of unbridled physical passion was unleashed as we made careless, abandoned and mutually satisfying love across my recently waxed executive oak top. Me, 42 years of age, corduroy trousers round my ankles, willow patterned socks, red garters, black lace-ups so shiny you could see your face in them, and she, nubile, pink, white lace panties harpooned on a pine coat hanger, bodies thrashing and pulsing with every passionate thrust and parry. God, it's like a tin box in here, protected from all external threats, but ultimately resulting in total deafness. Not that it matters much in my case. Cromer, holiday of a lifetime. Sand, sun, sea and fun. Sand, sea and bucketing rain would be more like it. Although, admittedly, less attractive in the holiday brochures. From that day on, we indulged dangerous, daring and provocative sex, the length and breadth of Sandwell. My desk, her desk, my chair, her height adjustable chair, the ladies' room, once, the bonnet of my Austin Montego, the mayoral high chair, and the parquet flooring of the council chamber with its magnificent echo, and innumerable other nooks and crannies which happened to avail themselves to us as lust embraced us, which it did quite often. Me and Gaynor, match made in heaven. I couldn't understand it, especially given her impending marriage to a vicar's son.